Welcome to the NBA Predictive Playbook. It is Tuesday, November 2nd, 2021. I'm here with NBA expert and reigning king at SportsMemo.com in NBA profitability. So this is a guy you definitely want to get over and get a 30-day or longer subscription, and you'll be glad you did. And his name is UCapper, better known as Ronald among us friends. So welcome to the show, Ronald. We're going to do things a little differently as we discussed with the media team over at Wager Talk. And this is going to be more of a back, kind of like showing people like it's early in the morning right now on Tuesday, and we're not real sure about who we're going to take, but there's some things that stick out, and we're going to try to show you a little bit about how we break down games. So we're going to get right. We'll get right at it, Ronald, with the 7 o'clock game between the Bucks, who are so shocking 3-4 on a 3-game losing streak. They're 2-1 away on the road. And the Pistons, who are 1-5. Milwaukee's a 5-point favorite. The over-under is 213. What sticks out on this game initially when you look at it?
Yeah, so initially I was looking at this line with the Bucks -5 on the road, and you already know that they're missing key players like Lopez, Holiday, Middleton, DiVincenzo, and you just think about like how are they 5-point favorites on the road with all these guys missing, and then you have Giannis. I think he's also a game time decision. Well, the first thing I think about is who are they playing, right? The Pistons. The Pistons are the worst. They're the worst offensive team in the league, pretty much bottom 2 in the league in anything related to shooting, except for maybe free throws. 29th in the league in field goal percentage, 30th in 3-point field goal percentage, 30th in true shooting percentage, 30th in effective field goal percentage. The one thing I took from the Bucks game against the Jazz is these next guys up, replacing these starters, these key players. They bring a lot of energy off on the defensive side of the ball. And against the Jazz, you can see sometimes it was a little bit too much energy. They sent the Jazz to the line 27 times. I think in this game they're able to dial it down a little bit on the aggressiveness, just because the Pistons don't shoot well anyways, and that's going to help them on the offensive side of the ball. They struggled against the Jazz because the Jazz are the top defensive team in the league, or one of the top defensive teams in the league. And they do have some good shooters. Nora, they got Portis, and the Pistons. They're hardly a great defensive team at all. They're bottom 3rd in the league in defensive rating. And so, with all that said, as long as Giannis plays, I think the Bucks, even without those key players, should be able to shoot a lot better than they did against the Jazz, and be able to limit the Pistons in scoring as well, and be able to hopefully cover that spread at -5, because it seems like a small one, even with those players out.
Yeah, that's a concern I have with the injury. I mean, it's so early in the day, you probably don't know anything about Giannis's status, but would you make your play sounds like it's going to be conditional on that he is actually starting?
Yeah, 100%. As long as Giannis is playing, I think the Bucks can take this one. I don't think there's anyone that can on the Pistons that could really stop him or even limit him at any capacity. And these other guys on the team, they could shoot the ball. Most of the guys that aren't on the starting lineup, they're kind of specialty role players, and they kind of just fit in with the Greek Freak.
Yeah. And one last question I have for you. The spread is only -5 right now. Do you think that, to me, that sounds like Giannis is not playing, because the Pistons are pretty terrible, as you outlined so well.
Yeah. No, I think the -5 actually has him playing, in my opinion, because because you have Middleton, right? You have Middleton out.
Yep.
Yeah, Drew out. You got Lopez out. That's 3 of your starting 5. In my opinion, this could possibly be like -9, -10 with those guys in. I feel like if Giannis wasn't playing, if you have all 4 of those starters out, Pistons could possibly even be a favorite in that situation. So I think -5 right now kind of tells me that Giannis might be playing.
Well, Detroit Pistons, Detroit Lions, just the fact that you have the word favorite in the same sentence is almost scary, right?
yeah, exactly.
No, good stuff on that. I think I definitely agree that if Giannis plays, they're going to easily cover that -5, you would think.
Mm-hmm.
Let's move on to another game here. We have the Sacramento Kings visiting the Utah Jazz. And that game is a 9 o'clock game. Utah, clearly the better team, especially at home. But the Kings now, with these draft picks and some of the guys that are in their their second and third year, they're starting to play pretty decent basketball.
Yeah.
Is there any trap here for Utah to be aware of?
Well, I mean, these guys played each other not too long ago. And also, from what I've seen, this is one of the only games tonight that doesn't have any like real looming game time decisions as far as players being out or anything. So that's also helpful looking into this game. The Kings covered the 6.5 spread at home. I think on the 22nd there was few weeks ago. And today they're in Salt Lake City, and the Jazz are 9-point favorites. This is like the Kings' fourth and final leg of their road trip. We already saw a little bit of fatigue in that Dallas game for the Kings. Fox and Barnes also played big minutes that game. And their bench, I don't think it's as deep as what people think. Defensively, they're not a great team as well. I think they're 25th in the league in defensive rating right now. Obviously, they got Night off on the bench coming off, and he shut down Donovan earlier this in their matchup. But obviously Donovan, I think he probably heard the noise about him getting shut down by the rookie, and I think he's going to probably take this game a little personal as well. Situationally, the Jazz could be in a fall flat type of situation. I think I tend to either fade or stay away from teams on a one-game homestand between two long road trips, and that's what the situation is right now for them. They could also be looking ahead to their two next matchups against the Hawks and the Heat on the road. So those are key matchups that, playing top teams in the league. You want to always kind of be prepared for those types of matchups. The good thing about the Jazz, though, is that they're a deep roster. So if any players on the starting lineup, fall flat by any means, they can pick up the pieces. You got Clarkson and Ingles on the bench who could, they're spot shooters. They could score pretty much anytime they want against second units. But just because of those situational spots, the side is a tough call for me. But the total actually opened up at 220 tonight, and I feel like I was leaning towards the over, and by the time the show started, the total went up to 221.5, and I do agree with that. That total moving up. Both teams scored a combined 211 total points in their last matchup. Both teams shot terribly that game too, especially the Kings, who shot 39% from the field, including 22% from the three. And some of that was the Jazz D, obviously, but some of that was also just missing shots that they normally would make. And so with all that said, I'm leaning the over tonight. I'm not too sure if the total is going to move up a little bit more or not, but I'm going to wait it out to see if it comes back down a little bit to closer to the open total.
Yeah, I like it. I'm just brainstorming here a little bit. Teams that shoot the three badly, which, believe it or not, the Utah Jazz are shooting under 33%, and so are the Kings. It's early in the season, but still, it falls into a little angle here. I'll mention to you that might give you some comfort with a 222 total if it keeps steaming higher.
Yeah.
If the total is between 220 and 229.5. And the game is being played in November, which is the beginning of the traditional basketball season.
Yeah.
Teams tend to struggle sometimes. And I like this angle. It supports both teams. And you're taking a team that's shooting under 33% from beyond the arc in a game 220 to 229.5, which reflects above average scoring for sure.
Yeah.
That's gone 65 and 31 against the number, or gone over. For 68%. So
yeah, I like that.
Yeah. See, this is what we're trying to show. Like, I would not have looked at that had you not mentioned the over. It makes us all think about things. Doesn't necessarily give us a best bet, but certainly a lean to the over here.
Yeah, for sure.
And the game I'm going to look at is the Lakers. Now, this was, a scheduling, I almost call it a flaw, where a team has to play on the road against the same team back-to-back. And I know it's the COVID protocol that's involved here.
Yeah.
But the Rockets actually covered a 10.5-point spread in the first meeting on Sunday. And they're only playing their second game in the past 5 days. And they're very young. I thought it was pretty cool. I read somewhere that Jalen Green was 20 days old when Carmelo Anthony of the Lakers made his debut. So I'm not calling Carmelo an old man, but also in that article, I might say too, I was glad to finally see him stand up kind of for himself and say, look, I'm not a guy that people can't get along with me on a team. Because the question from the reporter was, in the win, he was the high scorer. And what is so different about this game and blending in so quickly with this new offensive scheme? Well, first of all, the offensive schemes of most NBA teams are the same. It's pick and roll. It's fundamentals. But I thought it was pretty cool that he actually said that, look, I'm a pretty laid back guy, and I just try to contribute the best I can. He's taken a bad rap, in my opinion, over the years. But anyway, this game, I'm actually going to be contrarian. And what we mean by contrarian, for those watching this video and are new to betting, is that we're going against the public sentiment. And I've gotten to the point where I really don't single out the public bettors versus the professional bettors, the smart money, so to speak. I lump them all together. And when I was trading on Wall Street, of course, I would have been considered a pro being in the pit versus a public person trying to call in and get an order executed. And we sentiment, when it reaches certain levels of like say 78% in the marketplace, those are usually the tops. And when it gets down below 40, then you start getting into the area of bottoms. So that's the contrarian part of this. So I believe that as the day wears on, people are going to look at this game, and the flash number is minus 10.5, double-digit favorite. Oh my goodness, it's the Lakers. They'll kill the Rockets.
Yeah.
And there's a rush to the betting table, and I think this line will probably go higher rather than lower. Maybe as high as 11.5, I could see. So it wouldn't be a bad idea, if you like the Rockets as I do, to wait and see what the market tells you. I think in the first game, those two young guys, they're an excellent young backcourt, Jalen Green and Kevin Porter Jr.
Yeah.
They both have roots in Southern California. And I know as an athlete a long time ago, and they did have TVs back then. That you can get overjuiced if you're making a return home to where you grew up, as in the case of Jalen Green, grew up in Fresno, which is just north of LA. And Kevin Porter, as we know, was a one-timer at USC. You can get like juiced up because you're around family and you just want to put on a big show and you want to upset the Lakers. And oh my goodness, we're at the Staples Center for the first time. Now they have one game under their belt. They got a day off, and now they're going to play again. And the Lakers 4-14 in home games, facing a team with a losing record over the last two seasons. We've seen them unfocused against these teams that they should beat. Yeah, and they just have they know they're going to be in the playoffs, and I think that's the big monumental problem when they play teams that they're double-digit favorites on. So I'm going to take the Rockets here, Ron, and I wouldn't be surprised if you think I'm a little nuts.
Yeah, no, not at all. I think one thing that I saw in this game too is the total. I think didn't they go? Wasn't it like 85, 95? So
that's correct.
180 total points. What do you think about the total on this? I think defensively, the Lakers have looked good the last two games compared to the start of the season. I wonder how much of that is kind of like chemistry coming up after a few games and stuff like that.
Yeah, I like that thought. I mean, the first game went under by so much. There is another contrarian bet would be the over. And this is, let me just pull this up real quick here, Ron. It'll take 1 second out of the database. So here's well, actually, I take that back. It does support the under. I memorized my notes, but there's a system in here, and it's a 25-year NBA angle that's
Nice.
64% to the under, and it has to do with inept performances in recent games. So that angle there is 64% over the last 25 seasons to the under, and I like that thought. I like that thought quite a bit. I think the Lakers they held them to 7 points with 4 minutes to go in the first quarter, I think it was.
Yeah, it was pretty. I mean, I think they came out pretty strong on the defensive end, and I think that, I mean, to me, that's what I expected this whole season, is them to be a really great defensive team, just because, you know, that's the type of energy LeBron brings, and AD, and obviously Westbrook is a strong and athletic point guard who could stop the other, you know, the opposing team's point guard as well. So I was kind of surprised that they weren't really at the top of the defensive rating rankings to start the season.
Yeah, and in that last game, the Rockets missed 14 free throws and 27 turnovers.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Wow.
talking about. Yeah, it's the steals and the blocks, those high energy defensive plays is what I was expecting from the Lakers, and that's what I saw the last two games.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to give this some thought, but guys and gals, this is how we start our day for the most part, and we're not on a show like this, but we might be sending messages through a Slack or a Discord or something like that to get all the information we need to make the best possible pick for our clients.
Mm-hmm.
So with that said, we will be back to comment and answer any of the questions you may have about the show, about the games. Feel free to contribute too. If you find out that Giannis, for example, is not playing, by all means, put that in the comments section, and we'll appreciate that very much, as will everybody else that watches the show. So, Ronald, I think that's about it for now. I'll look forward to speaking to you later or throughout the day, as always. So thanks for being on the show with me, and on behalf of Ronald, myself, SportsMemo.com, and the Predictive Playbook cast of shows, may all the wins be yours. Thank you for watching, guys and gals.